Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome back to The Farmer Was Replaced. Today we're going to be taking a look at the full release of the game. The developer was nice enough to give me access to the full release of the version a little bit ahead of schedule. So this is actually being recorded before the 10th of October when I actually dropped this. But yeah, we played a little bit of the early access, really enjoyed this game. Thought we'd try out the full release and share it with y'all. If you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and drop down below, I want access to The Farmer Was Replaced. I'll put you in a randomized drawing for a free release key or game key for The Farmer Was Replaced. So be sure to do that. Anyway, basically, just in case you don't know what this game is about, let me just explain that real quick before we dive in. Farmer Was Replaced, you basically are utilizing Python programming to script this little droney boy to go and harvest various crops. So you can upgrade them to unlock more stuff. We'll hit start and kind of getting started. There's windows, so very much like an IDE, you can drag these guys around. You can add more with this create new code file. There's info window in case you close this guy or want to have multiple panes open. You can click the little eye and do that. Then there's the unlock tree. So as you can see, you can scroll in and out with the mouse wheel, so that's kind of nice. But you have various things that you can unlock here. So there's both crops, so like plant new things, plant things faster, increase what you're getting when you harvest stuff. Then there's also programming aspects, so like while loops. We can't actually program loops until we get this up. There's like operators, there's a bunch of really cool stuff further down the tree on this side for programming stuff, and then this side is more like plants. And then kind of concentrated in the middle are the utility upgrades, meaning like how fast you go, how big your farm is, that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and close that little guy. We don't really need it. So first things first, we've got the piggy bank, which stores some resources, and the drone with the cowboy hat, that is us. First thing I want to do is, actually we need to unlock that first. So first thing we need to do, we need to harvest some wheat. So just like in Python, harvest is a defined function. So you go ahead, put in harvest, it will harvest the wheat. Now it's not a loop, so it'll do that once. Once it's finished, it ends the execution of the code. Now I can paste in a bunch of harvests here. There we go. And then it'll run each of those, right? So you can kind of get it to go more than once if you do something along those lines. But we have the while loop for 5 wheat. Here's a little explanation. Basically what the while loop is going to do, it's going to execute the body of code, so the loop body, while the condition specified inside the loop is true. When it's false, it'll stop executing the body. So basically what we can do is something like this. While true, go ahead and harvest. Bam, bam. And now this will infinitely harvest the tile. So pretty basic little loop, but it does do what we want to do. We can just go through some of this. This little guy isn't terrible. Like, it's good to have. Sometimes you want to reference back how a function works in the game when trying to build out your program. So this, being able to instantize this is really nice. I think this is new with the full version of the game, so great add in my opinion. So to increase the yield is 300, we can increase our speed for 20. So it'll do that. This also allows us to check if we can harvest. So we're going to modify this code, right? So the way it's running right now, it basically harvests so fast that the crop doesn't grow, so we're no longer getting any, right? So in order to fix that, all we got to do is put in an if statement. So if can harvest, then we will go ahead and harvest. Now you do have to respect the syntax, meaning these little colons, these little parentheses, the indentation, all of those things matter. The capitalization matters if you're calling these specified values. And like function calls, so while, if, those need to be lowercase, true, north, once we can start moving, those have to be capitalized, just so you're aware. So we'll go ahead and run that, and now you see it's not harvesting instantly. We are now incrementing again, and that's because it's waiting until this is fully grown before it tries to harvest. Just FYI, in this game, if you try to harvest a crop before it is fully grown, it will clear the crop, but you will not get any resources from it. So you do need to check if you can harvest something before you harvest it, just as a general rule thumb. We are going to expand the farm. This allows us to move. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm also going to get planting bushes as well for 50 coins. We'll talk about that too. We'll kind of do it in one, because if you look here, to unlock all the next stuff, we need wood, which comes from bushes. So except for increasing the wheat yield, we can get hats. So we will change our hat. So there's a variety of hats in here. So because we're a cool cat, we're going to say change hat. Let's see, hats dot, and we want the green hat. It rocks with our vibe, right? So now, every time we run our code, we equip the green hat and then start harvesting if we can. So we now have a line of tiles that we can utilize here. So what we can do to modify it so we harvest all 3 of these instead of just one, we can utilize the move function. Now, some things to be aware of about this, the number of tiles you can farm will expand over time. Like, you can pump more points into the expand upgrade. It just costs more resources. If you go, so like, let's say we were on this tile and tried to move north, which is up, south is down, east is right, west is left. If we tried to move north, or if, like where we are, if we tried to move south, we would end up on the top tile here. So it does tell you x equals 0, y equals 2. Eventually you can get the drone to check what position it's in, but we don't have that yet. So what we can do, since you basically spill over to the end every time, you can basically make a loop like this. So if can harvest, harvest, and then if you can't harvest, so else, you're going to move, is the new function we unlocked. And then this one, you specify a direction. So we're going to move north. So basically, if you can harvest, you harvest. If you can't harvest, then you're going to move north. And then you're going to run this again. And that will loop itself infinitely. So there we go. Now our drone moves in the line. It harvests stuff. Bada bing. Now the thing that's going to become important later, so it's good to get used to this habit right out of the gate, is you're going to end up defining functions to do specific tasks. So I want to harvest just wheat. I want to harvest just bushes, etc. So we're going to set up something to harvest bushes, just for fun. So let's do this. While true, and I talked about syntax and then just ignored it. Sorry about that. While true, if you can harvest, then you're going to harvest. Then before you move, I want you to plant an entities, and it needs to be in parentheses, dot bush. And then after you do that, you're going to move. Boom. So basically what this guy is going to do is it's going to convert our wheat that we're harvesting right here into straight bushes. So I want to wait until we get about 200 wheat, I think is what I want. Really, we want to be able to get this to, like, it's fine. We can come back and harvest wheat in a minute, but we don't have variables to be able to, like, tell it when to switch over yet. So we need to get some wood. I just want enough so I can at least get operators. And then, I mean, yeah, if we can get at least operators, that should be enough to see us go. So, all right, let's go ahead and test out our bushes program. So it harvests if it can harvest, then it plants the bush, then it moves, it harvests, plants. So there we go. We now have wood basically automated. Our farm's just small, so it takes a while. The bushes do take longer to grow than grass. It's 3.74 seconds versus half a second. So it's approximately 8 times longer to grow a bush when compared with grass. So we get this 8 times slower, assuming we're planting the whole thing. You can do a bunch of crazy stuff because it's a programming game. So like math, if you like vibe coding, you'll probably like this. So yeah, be sure to check it out on Steam if you're interested. It's a pretty good game, in my opinion. So there we go. We got operators. That's cool. Now we can do math. Our drone is smart enough to do math. He went to high school or whatever shit. Let's go ahead, expand the farm one more time, which now makes it a 3x3. So our basic move north, while it works and moves us, it doesn't utilize the full efficiency of this farm. I'm going to wait until we can get the speed upgrade before we swap it over. But we need to basically figure out how to move through our farm. Really, I need senses to do this properly. So I need to, we can basically edit this. While num items think actually we don't have that yet because we don't have senses. So no, we can't actually base it or like build it in such a way that it swaps automatically between the crops yet. We need to get variables like that, or no, we need senses rather to do that. So we need 100 wheat. That's fine. I'll up the speed because that will make getting the wheat faster, and we will just run our basic main program. This will eventually get changed out into something different. I'm just keeping it because it's nice having one named main. Oh my god, if I can that. So we'll get our wheat real quick so we can get our senses unlocked, and then we might honestly have enough variables to take carrots. Okay, so we have to get carrots going. That's fine. Carrots are pretty simple, but they are a different type of crop. So there's some new functions that you get when you unlock them, which we'll look at. But I want senses first so we can actually move through our farm and kind of swap between things. So, senses. Let's go ahead and look at the little thingy for it. Let's see. Harvest, built-in functions. Do I have to open a new one? Yeah. Here we go. So I want senses. Basically, it can see. I can get my position with it. I can see how many items I have. I can see what is actually on the tile. So like, is it a hay? Is it a bush? Etc. I can see the ground type. Is it soil or grassland? And yeah, I also get number unlocked, so I can see if I've unlocked a plant yet and that type of thing. So that's kind of cool. You can basically program this in such a way that it automates completing the entire tech tree. We'll do that later in a future episode, so if you're enjoying this, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notified when that episode comes out. But here we go. We'll go ahead and stop this. I think we have enough wheat for the time being. Right? We don't need that for anything else. We'll get print. It's a helpful debugging thing, so we get debugging stuff. We can put in a breakpoint, which basically, the way those work, I click on the left, put this little circle here. If I run this, it'll go to this little circle, and then it'll stop, and then I can hit this, it'll continue until it hits the circle again, and it'll stop. So it's a way to debug and like test your code. So yeah, that's what that does. Print just allows your drone to print information out in case you're wondering what something is valued at. So let's go ahead and put in a move function. Now I'm going to build this as a move function over here. And basically what this is going to do is travel through the entire farm, and it's going to scale every single time we scale up the size of our farm as well. So we write this once, and then we never have to program moving logic, just to like go through basically travel through the farm. Now there are mazes eventually that requires different stuff, but yeah, for basic move, this will work. So I think we're going to call it BMV for the file name, because eventually we'll call this as an import into our main program once we get functions and imports and all that fun advanced stuff, which will probably be in a future episode. But let's go ahead and set this up. So what we want to do here is get world size. Boom, boom. So this is our get world size. What this does is, and like I can show you what it does by using the print function that we just unlocked. If I run this real quick, it'll print the size of the world. Basically, that is going to be a length of your tile. So it'll always be like 3x3 or 4x4 or 8x8, etc. Like that. There's a bunch of different sizes it can be. This will always tell you the side length. Now, basically what we're trying to do here is we're going to have our drone move north until it gets to the max world size, and then move to the right, and then continue moving north. So that's a pretty simple thing to type. If our get world size, so, and then this also will require getting our position Y. So if get position Y, which checks what tile is the drone on. See that how it says X0, Y0? If I ran get position Y, it would say 0, right? If get position Y equals, and since it's Python, it's a double equal sign to compare something, it's a single equal sign to set things. If our position Y is the world size, then we want to move east, and then we want to move north. Else, we're just going to move north. And so what this guy does is basically, if we're at the top tile, you're going to move east, then you're going to move north. If you're not at the top tile, you're always going to move north. So if I run this just basically What? Oh, I actually need to do a little bit of math here. So technically, the size of the world is 0 indexed array. So this tile is 0, 0. But if I were to print our get position Y, like that, it will tell you that we're at 0. We're at 1. We're at 2. Right? So 2 is not equal to 3. The world size says 3, but the last tile is equal to 2. So all I need to do is put a -1 here to account for that. So now it'll print our position. It'll move tile 2. It goes east, and then it moves north, so it resets it. And so now we have a move function that basically will get you set, like it will walk your drone through the entire farm. That's how you do it, pretty simply, right? It's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code, really only two calls. I could condense these things down if I really wanted to put it in a single line, but I ain't crazy like that, so we ain't worried about it. So what we do here is basically, I need to throw this in, I need to tab it, and now this will run our move logic instead of just move north. So yeah, that's all we have to do. And now, let's go ahead and harvest some bushes for a minute. Is this... Oh, this needs to indent more. It does actually need to be inside of the... wait, why do I have an else here? I don't actually need an else. Just do this. There we go. But yeah, as you can see, our drone is moving through, it's harvesting, it's planting, it's doing all those things automatically. And if I were to scale the size of our farm, we could do that and it would auto scale. So let's go ahead and get carrots. I think we can do that in this episode. It's getting a little long, but let's set a goal for ourselves. We got the next 10 minutes to get carrots up and running. Should be pretty easy. So carrots are a little bit different than the other crops. So first things first, they require a special type of ground. Second thing second, they also require a cost to purchase the seeds. So if I go in here, I have to plant them. So before you plant, they have to be planted on soil. So you have to till the grassland field, which is what this grass looks like. That's grassland, right? It has to be soil. It looks different. These will be, when you place a carrot, it costs wood and hay. So I need some hay, I need some wood before I can plant carrots. And then, yeah, it grows just like every other crop after that. So let's kind of write this. We want to plant carrots if the get ground type, right, is a function we can use. If it does not equal grounds.soil, right, then I need to till the ground into soil. Now, generally speaking, running just tilled soil on all your tiles doesn't hurt you. There's nothing that actually requires specific grassland tile in order to grow. So tilling your soil as you move is not the worst thing in the world. Like, I could put this inside of our move command and that would work fine, but we'll just throw it in with carrots because technically the bushes and the hay can grow on grassland, so it doesn't matter. So we don't need to run the extra 2 lines. All right, there's that. So till the soil, then what we're gonna do is, actually, I suppose since we're doing this as like a unibody, we need to throw in a can harvest, then harvest command, so it clears the tile and gathers the resources. If we have no ground soils, then we're gonna till it. Then if we have it's item num items. If num items dot hay is greater than, let's just set a baseline of 50 of each resource for ourselves. And like, we could do something fancy here because technically the number should be, let's do it fancy. Why not? We have variables, right? We unlock that. No, we can't until we get carrots. So, JK, we can't get fancy yet. Items, hey, greater than like 50. And because we have logical operators, right? So this means this condition and the next condition, which is going to be num items, and we'll just do this. Oh, come on. Why'd you click me out of it? Items.wood greater than 50. And this needs to be outside of the dealio. Yeah, I know this syntax is garbage. I apologize, guys. I'm trying to do it right. So there's that and that. That should be our if condition. I need one more closing. Boom. Okay. So if we have 50 hay and 50 wood, then we're going to plant entities.caret. And then basically we're going to run our move command. So what we can do is just copy this boy and paste it right on in. Boom. And that should do carrots for us. Now it doesn't handle if we have less than 50, right? So what might make sense here, now let's do this as well. We can go ahead and build in the condition check for our hay and our wood, right? So like, oh, you don't have 50 hay, you don't have 50 wood, then instead what I want you to do is plant hay. So if num items of hay is less than 50, and this should really be a greater than equal to and a greater than equal to, boom and boom. So if we have this, then I want you to run basically this program. This little struct or piece. So if go boom, then boom, that does wood, or that does hay rather. And then elif, and I don't really need the like embracing parens there. So like I don't need these. Python's sophisticated enough, it'll know what I mean when I write that. So if that, or else if this, meaning so check this condition, then check this condition, then check this condition. All right, it's none of those three, or it's one of those three, run the code, then it moves down to the next line. That's how that works in case you're new to Python, or if then, else if statements. All right, so now we need to paste in our wood, which is going to be if bush what did it had an error there. I don't know what it was crying about, but okay. Let's go ahead and pause that. Let's increase the yield of our carrots. Let's get water. We could implement watering here. A bracket close is expected. Okay. I did put the thing. Okay, that's fine. So put the little paren back in. Fair enough. So now we're getting water. The way water works, you basically get tanks per period of time. So right now we get one tank every 10 seconds. For more wood, we can increase the number of tanks per second we get to make it so we can water more frequently. That's fine. Let's go ahead and throw in watering just on the carrots, I think, because it's pretty easy to implement. So if our get water, which what this function does is it checks the tile underneath to see what its current water state is, where 0 will be not watered and 1 will be fully watered, and each tank of water you add increments it by 0.25. So if you have a 0 water state and you want to go to a 1 water state, you need at least 4 water tanks to make that happen. So if get water does not equal 1, we want to water our tile, right? So really it's does not equal 1, and I also need to check if I have enough water tanks to fully water the tile. So num items dot water, And the way I'm doing that is if you start typing it, you can scroll through that list with your arrow keys. You can also use your mouse wheel and click it. And then if you hit tab, it'll auto-complete that. So that's how I'm getting those things to auto-complete super quick. I can't actually type at the speed of light, despite what it may look like. So there's that. So, okay, we've got our condition. If it's not watered to full capacity and we have greater than 5 water tanks, then we will run this. 5 tanks should be sufficient to fully water the tile. So yeah, it should be more than sufficient. So let's just set it to 6. I always get worried about this. For whatever reason, the game sometimes gets a little weird with water checking, and that's okay. Not a big deal. We go like that, then we're going to use item. It's the new command, and it's going to be items.water. Boom, shaka, laka. And now we've got carrots. That will also be watered, assuming we have more than 50 of each, which we do at the moment. So let's go ahead and set this. It should auto cycle as well. What am I missing? The bracket close. Okay, fair enough. There we go. It's starting to plant the carrots. Oh, I didn't set this inside of a while loop, is why it only ran once. So all we gotta do, while true, boom, then I highlight all of this, right? Hit tab, and now this guy will go. And we'll expand this out so you guys can actually see what we programmed here. So this is the script that will basically plant carrots until we can't afford to plant carrots. And then come back, or well, it doesn't quite do that because we need variables in order to parse in the world size as the modifier to check the number of items against. I mean, I could do it without, but it's really messy and would make this very long as far as the code is concerned. So saving up the 35 carrots, which we already have, will allow us to do this. So what is going on here? Why are we not planting carrots? Because we are at 50. We do actually need to specify to plant the hay. Which is referred to as grass. It's kind of interesting that the item is hay, but the plant is grass. It's okay. No worries. Now this should work. There we go. So yeah, simple bug testing, pretty easy. The program works. We have variables now. So if we wanted to make this fanciful, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. So we'll pause this. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. What we're going to do, we basically need to put in a way to check what number of hay and wood we need. And so that is going to be based off of the size of the farm times itself. So tiles is going to be the variable we use, and tiles is going to be equal to get world size times itself. So get world size squared. I think there is a power operator, but I like doing it this way just so I can see what I'm looking at. So tiles is equal to 3 times 3 or 9. There are 9 tiles. So this works without the little -1, whereas the move needs the -1 because the measurement of your position is 0 index, whereas the tile count is 1 index. So that's the difference there. So number of tiles. We basically need the number of tiles of hay and the number of tiles of wood in order to plant the entire farm in carrots. So if I just replace all these 50s that we were using before and set it to tiles, now we are basically built this program to infinitely plant carrots at maximum efficiency. We will run down our hay and our wood until we have less than 9. Once we have less than 9, we will plant hay or wood until we're back at 9 or more, and then we'll plant more carrots. So this should be in theory, a fairly well optimized program for planting carrots. I'm sure there's a better way. If you know what that is, be sure to drop it in a comment down below because I'd be interested to hear about it. But yeah, so there we go. We can get functions, which are great. I do want functions. We'll look at that next time, most likely, because we also need imports, and this video is kind of getting long. So we'll save up the carrots we need to unlock imports. We'll go ahead and expand the farm, make it bigger. And as you can see, just to like prove to you, our our move function and our harvest function is working in such a way that it will go through and, you know, auto compensate when we go to a 4x4 versus a 3x3. And I didn't have to change anything in my program to make that happen. It just automatically does it because we're utilizing um, a check of physical conditions that are changing as opposed to using a hard-coded value. So yeah, let's go ahead and yeah, we wanted to wait for the 80 carats. We should be about there. Get import unlocked. And basically what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up this episode for today. We built a few programs. We got through the first little chunk. We went through while loops. We went through operators. We went through variables. We went through the senses. And we got all the way up to carrots, automated, and watering. So basically we have a program that will auto plant carrots, auto plant bushes, and auto plant grass or hay for us. So we can get all three resources. Now that we have functions and imports allowed to us, we can build more or less like object-oriented programs to run our farm, which is a lot more efficient and a more preferable way to do it, in my opinion. So in the next episode, what we're going to look at is setting up functions for all of our codes that we've built for various types of crops. We're going to go over how the import works so we can launch them all from a single program. And then we'll likely go ahead and build out some stuff so we can scale through, and maybe we'll even check how much of each resource we want based off of unlock speed. So like I want to get through the tree. We definitely want to try to get to pumpkins next time. We'll maybe try to get trees, and like we'll try to get these three tiles unlocked at the very least, and then unlock what we can over on the programming abilities and go through it. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe to the channel and come back next time. If you enjoyed the video today, be sure to drop a like and a comment if you had any questions or just general comments you wanted to share. Anyway, guys, this has been Lone Debater 7. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.